I'm Edward Warfield, the publisher of CityBiz, and I'm honored today to interview Daniel Satchkov, who's the president and founder of RiXtrema. Welcome.
Hi, Edwin. Thank you for having me.
Can you provide an introduction to the company?
Yeah, RiXtrema has been based in New York actually since 2010, 2011 at this point. But it was a very different company for the first few years. We worked with large asset managers and hedge funds because our background is in quantitative finance. But somewhere around 2014, 2015, we decided to that we really wanted to work closer with retirees and individual investors, and that was a really interesting challenge. So we switched to that. And RiXtrema now works mostly with retirement plan advisors and financial advisors who help average people to achieve their retirement goals and improve the 401ks around the country.
And so, how are your AI products? How are they working, and how are they changing the game for those who work as financial advisors, plan advisors, and asset managers?
Well, the term AI is very broad, and I should preface that by saying that I do not believe it's intelligence. I believe anybody calling it intelligence is actually actively gaslighting the public. And I worked with these algorithms for a long time. These are very advanced algorithms, and they can do amazing things, but they're certainly not intelligent. I'm not going to have the whole kind of discussion around that. Maybe that's a separate topic, but we'll establish that I'm using AI acronym, but without acknowledging that it's actually intelligence because it's not. Um, these algorithms, this AI type algorithms, they are really good at some things. And I think one of the biggest problems right now is that people trying to figure out what these things can really do, what they cannot do. And so there's real danger in trying to sort of paper over these problems and just say, well, it's AI and it's going to be Skynet and so on. In reality, it's much more nuanced. These algorithms can be very good at, for example, at summarizing language. So you can give it pages and pages, a book of text, and these algorithms, AI algorithms, are going to be able to summarize it, answer questions about it. So anything where you provided a lot of language data, it's able to actually store it, it's able to manipulate it, and so on and so forth. It's also able to very plausibly mimic humans. But the way AI does it is nothing like the way that humans do it. So it is not human like. It's only very superficially, though sometimes very amazingly looking, but it can mimic humans. So let me get to the first point, summarization. Summarization of data is an incredibly important task. It will change many industries. So I'm not a skeptic on it per se, because obviously I'm building these models. I believe that they're very powerful. I'm just skeptic of incredible overselling and hype of what they do. But if you think of summarization of data, there's an enormous productivity benefit there. Think about like a 401k plan advisor that wants to deal with a certain plan, wants to talk to them. And 401k plan documents can run in dozens and dozens of pages. It could be 100 pages of various filings and so on. So at now, financial advisor has to sit there and study at least some of it, maybe summaries, to prepare to talk about the plan. Whereas with 401k AI, which is the product we built, they can just financial advisor can just ask the tool, summarize this plan for me, and the AI algorithm will actually read all of the filings, will read all of the key points, and then put out only the most important things, where the items where the plan is deficient, or maybe it's actually good. So think about the time. I mean, one of our clients said that very early on when we showed it to them. They said, "Well, I get this. This is 3 hours of work in 3 minutes." We've sort of used it as a slogan since, because that's exactly what it is. It's very literally that. It's provably that. We've done a couple of live events, one in May and another one in June, and another one actually is happening November 9th, this Thursday. Those events were very well attended because people are interested. We did some education, but there we substantiated those claims. We took a number of tasks that people normally do, like summarizing documents, and we showed them how much faster they could be done. We also, summarizing documents is one of the things. The other item would be really, really helpful is in where you can create communication. So sometimes we write emails that are personal, that have to be personal, but a lot of the business email is not that personal. It's actually, I don't know about you and listeners, but for me, I've done a lot of writing in my life. Even though I'm a math geek, I've done some scientific writing. I wrote for popular publications. I wrote for blogs and so on. Business email writing is like the one I abhor the most because it's right in that spot where you have to be very careful to write it well, but it's also extremely non-creative and and it's really just like mind-numbing. Honestly, a lot of the business writing that we have to do, and there's no way around it. So these models can do that. They can very plausibly mimic business style, and you can control them to give out only the correct information. Here's where I'm going to pause and say that many people think of AI as ChatGPT, which is understandable because that is the biggest model out there for natural language, for large language models. However, we at RiXtrema have developed our own model for a number of reasons. One of the reasons is that we don't like to use ChatGPT or use it only in certain cases. Is that it is well, it's outdated, right? It's not trained up to today. It's trained right now up to April 2023. It's also not private, and that's the biggest thing for many of the clients that we have. They're not going to want to put in information that is seen by some third party, let's say, using a document. So therefore, all documents our clients upload go to our models on our server, and they're safeguarded as highly private data, which they are. Okay, so privacy. But there's another difference in that ChatGPT. You may have heard this term, hallucinations. ChatGPT is known to hallucinate, and all of these models have that problem. This is a very polite term for saying that they lie. And they will tend to lie in a very specific case when they don't have enough information. So these models, they don't have any understanding, like sort of for whatever reason, they don't have any humility. They will never say, I don't know. Or sometimes they'll say, I don't know, but they really do know. So it's really, the question is when they don't have enough information, they will frequently make up stuff. And that's why we developed our own model to give it because we're dealing in the world of investment and finance and retirement, we gave it so much retirement information, overload, over engineering, if you will, so that it never has to make up stuff. It will never have to hallucinate. So our clients are using it to summarize data, also to write business emails. Those are really two important uses. The other important use that we connected it to our computer vision AI, because remember, when people think about AI now, they think about language, ChatGPT, writing, chat, but in reality, that's a much broader field. We also have computer vision AI. And like our clients, what they can do now, let's say your financial advisor is sitting down with somebody and they have their portfolio on the screen. Well, they can take our app, take a photo of the screen and get a full report on the portfolio. How? Computer vision will take the data on the screen, will map it to actual investment portfolio. So we'll recognize it, create an investment portfolio, and then investment portfolio is ran through other algorithms. So I think that the future of these models and how our clients using it are to save time on really mundane tasks or mind-numbing tasks that people don't like, to make the model more private, and also to connect it to various business processes so that it seamlessly helps a human being. So I would say that most of financial advisors, good financial advisors, are not threatened by these tools, and they will not lose their jobs. These models will not replace these particular jobs. They're just going to make sure that those advisors who utilize this technology are more successful because they're now spending a lot less time on reading documents and trying to summarize things, and they spend more time being human and interacting with their clients and prospects.
And so, are people in the world of finance adopting AI, or is there still some sort of hesitation, or is it on a case by case basis?
It's moving really rapidly. I mean, when we talk about AI, it's also worth noting that there's a whole other area which would be called AI, but that has nothing to do with language. There are a lot of AI models that use numbers. So they will digest numbers from financial markets and output predictions or so on. That's been in use for a long time and it's very, very successful, but it's used mostly by large institutions to outrun their competitors, so to speak. In terms of the wealth management and financial advisors that we're looking at, people are adopting it. I think that this overhyping it as Skynet and being smarter than humans is actually creating a real problem. And the real problem is that not that it's false, which is a problem, this false hype, but the real problem is that people start believing that it's omnipotent and they try to use it for things that it shouldn't be used for, and they see that it's not that good. And then they say, well, that it's not for me. And they throw out the baby with the bathwater, and then they don't use it and they sort of fall behind. So we do see amazing adoption of these tools. For example, we launched, we're not a big company, but we launched these tools at the end of May, essentially beginning of June. Since then, we have close to 100 firms who signed up. For us, that's a lot. I mean, we have overall about 400 clients. So just in 4 or 5 months. So the adoption rate is high and it's accelerating. However, I think people really appreciate the clarity that we give them on what the tool can and cannot do. There's just too much out there of people who just want to get on the hype. Well, they do something and we do AI, but when you actually get into it, it's like something really trivial. So the adoption is there, but only when you can provide a very tangible benefit, as opposed to ChatGPT writing rap lyrics in Shakespearean style. I mean, maybe that's cool. I don't know, but that is not useful in any way.
And so, how did you become a subject matter expert in the area of machine learning, data sciences, and AI? And can you share some highlights from your career?
Sure. Well, first of all, I loved math since I was a kid, and my father was a very good engineer and an inventor who created a number of inventions and a successful startup. So he taught me since I was a kid how to think about math and engineering, and that I really loved that. My other passion was sports. I played sports for a long time, even professionally. But then I chose another area, and in school I actually basically studied business and finance, which is not math, which I regret actually. I will recommend anybody who's going to school, try to study some real science, math, chemistry, biology, physics. Business education is not super helpful because in the real world of business, almost all of those things you learn are not that useful. So my background was that I was very good in math since I was a kid. In college, I didn't do much of it, but thankfully, when I went to work, I realized that I had enough strong knowledge to really catch up quickly. So I started self-studying and so on, and I got into what's called quantitative finance. I worked for a big company which was founded in Connecticut called FactSet Research Systems. That was a great company. I worked there for 10 years, and then I went on to be the founder of RiXtrema, which has done a number of different things. So it really stems from my fascination with math. There was one German mathematician who I don't recall the name at this time because there's so many great German mathematicians, but he was asked, like, where is this promising student of yours? And he said, oh, you know what? He didn't have enough imagination. He became a poet. So that's a little bit of a joke, but in reality, math is very beautiful, and that's what led me to a lot of these things in machine learning too, because there are some aesthetically pleasing aspects about it, and then you find out that this kind of beauty can actually be helpful. Not that it doesn't have dangers. I'm very cognizant of the dangers of AI. I do think that the biggest danger of it is this overhyping and trying to use AI in areas where it shouldn't be. Like people always talk about, oh, let's make AI the teacher for kids. Horrible idea, just horrible, because AI itself is not capable of understanding many concepts that are needed to educate a child. They have no empathy and so on. So I think that a lot of the time when people push AI onto the world, they do it for nefarious. Well, I don't know if it's called nefarious, but definitely something that I don't agree with. And But there are things about these algorithms that are very, very useful and also aesthetically pleasing, and that's what drew me to them.
And so, what are some of the key milestones of Extrema over the last couple of years?
Well, I would say that the biggest milestone was that in May we released 401k AI and Advisor AI. For many years, we used these algorithms internally. Almost all of RiXtrema is built around AI in some way, shape, or form. But in 23, we released them to the public in a certain package. And in that sense, I mean, ChatGPT did make a difference because it showed people that it can be useful. They played with it. They were understanding of how it could be used. So I think that the biggest milestone since the creation of the company was this May when we released 401k AI, advisory AI. The next biggest one actually comes the day after tomorrow, on November 9th. We're going to have a live event where we're launching a tool called REMI. REMI is a different kind of tool altogether. It's not just for financial advisors, it's for anybody interested in finance. You can go in there and you can ask questions that, any kind of question that about finance that ChatGPT will simply not answer. For example, you can ask it, well, how do stock markets perform during a period of declining oil prices? Normally, to answer such a question, even as a financial professional, like a Bloomberg terminal, you would have to spend a good hour, getting charts, putting them together, maybe more. Whereas here, you're going to get an answer in 2 or 3 minutes. So the biggest milestone was June, and the next biggest one is this Thursday.
And so, what are your plans for additional growth and innovation?
Um, I believe that our goal is to create tools like REMI and 401k advisory AI to enable both financial professionals and now even regular investors to get answers very quickly and spend a lot less time on data gathering and data summarization. In my opinion, those are tasks like, for example, 100 years ago, people would do tasks that now forklifts do. One way or another, they would do them. Now they don't. That doesn't mean that humans are not needed. It just means that there's a certain task where a machine can do it better. So I believe it's not just with heavy lifting. It's also with, or even calculators, right? Calculators now calculate basically for a long time now. I believe that data summarization is something that these models can do very well. And that's going to save up a ton of time, not just for financial advisors. Think about like lawyers or doctors or so on. It should not replace humans. It should take out the parts of the work, parts of the job that computers can do. And by the way, the corollary to what I said earlier, I said AI is not intelligence, right? It can summarize data, but it's not intelligence. The kind of the corollary to that is, well, then the tasks that it could do are not creative tasks, not intelligent tasks. So right now, the humans still do quite a few non-creative, non-intelligent tasks. I think that will change. I think these tools will, 401k advisory will change that.
So, is there any part of your personal journey or your company's journey that you haven't shared with us that you'd like to share with us?
I would say that I would like to focus on one point when I said earlier that we worked with institutions and hedge funds, and then we decided to work with wealth managers. I believe that's really important. I think that in the world of today, we need more useful tools for regular people, for retirees, because to me it just wasn't exciting enough to work for somebody who already has $1 billion to help them make another 10 or 100 million. I think we really need to focus on tools that will empower people, and that's one of the reasons why at RiXtrema we're building very focused models. We're trying not to uh, become like a chat gpt a chat gpt interface, because now everybody wants to build an interface to chat gpt. Well, what's going to happen is it's going to centralize control in chat gpt. I think it's going to be much more productive and much more useful to build tools like we do, because our ambition is to sort of get the financial software away from high centralization, provide options that can help people to basically save money, that really can help retirees and financial advisors, and not necessarily just help hedge fund traders make more money.
Well, Daniel, I want to thank you for your time today, and your journey's been a fascinating journey, and I wish you the best of luck on Thursday on your presentation, and hopefully the adoption continues to take off. So again, thank you for your time, and keep us apprised of your upcoming developments.
Thank you, Edwin, and thank you, CDB's listeners. Take care.